Scrimmage on Saturday, but the guys really got after it. Saw a lot of improvement. First time we really introduced any real UMass was today, where we got a chance to get look squads down there and start doing some of those things. We keep on progressing. So, try to keep on emphasizing. We got to play clean to have a chance to beat these guys. And if we do play clean, I think we have a pretty solid football team. A lot of great competition at all the different positions. Obviously, everyone talks about the quarterback spot. I'm less worried about who's going to be our starter. I'm just worried about those guys keep on pushing each other to get better, and they have been. The competition's been really good, and you can see they've had to both step up to continue to compete. So, both quarterbacks are sharing a lot of reps. Both are getting 1 reps and 2 reps. And again, I think they're both doing a pretty good job. So that's something we'll probably talk about with Tyler later on. But I have no time frame, and I don't think he really has a time frame with that. But again, a lot of good competition out there, a lot of different spots. So anyway, questions?
Is that something, is it more your style to announce this guy's going to be our starter heading into the game? Or
that is not my style at all. So, and this is unique where it is truly going back and forth. I don't think we've sat down and go, okay, let's do a graph of who's doing what. But both percentages are pretty close in terms of completion percentage and those kind of things. So it's been pretty good. Like I said, I think they have both pushed each other, and I don't know if we didn't have one. It's just the nature of competition. I don't think if we had one, the other would be playing at the level they're playing at. So I think they're both playing at a level that's we can win with, and I think it's we feel good that okay, we have 2 quarterbacks that play in this league. We'll figure out who's going to take that first snap eventually, but it's really not a priority right now.
So it could be a situation where, like, going into the UMass game, either Evan or Javon's going to know who's starting, but UMass isn't.
Yeah, no, UMass will have no idea
Okay.
who's starting. They will probably announce Casey Keeler, and they probably will figure that's not going to happen. But no, and again, I don't know if there's a time frame when we have to do this with them. I think they're both getting a lot of really good reps. And so I think it's one of those things where I think we sit with Tyler and say, okay, is there a need to get one reps because just the nature of him being with one, but they've gotten so much 1s and 2s that I think I don't know if that's going to be a need or not. So and I think it's a situation where I'm not a guy who likes to play 2 quarterbacks. We got 2 quarterbacks right now we think can play, and so we'll kind of figure that out.
Did you like that, the guys got tested here for a good hour with the elements? Was that good
Yeah.
to see how they react to that?
Geez, this is not what I'm used to, It's so funny because I was joking that I think when I announced that I was, coming here, I think none of my players in Texas believed me because I would constantly complain about this weather, about how I loved the heat and I didn't want to have any more cold and rain, and so. But no, it was good. We actually needed, because Tyler and I talked about getting out some wet balls and doing those kind of things because football's cumulative, and who knows what's going to happen during the course of the season. So you just want to make sure you're getting used to throwing a wet ball, snapping a wet ball, and those kind of things. Also, just the fact that the centers, hey, I can't snap this ball, and the referees are really good with that. Typically, if there's a problem with the ball, just given hey, I can't snap this ball, so just those kind of things we're talking about. But it's good to get a little weather out here because again, who knows what we're going to have up in beautiful Amherst, Massachusetts. I lived there for a period of time. Mm-hmm. Okay, so.
Casey, as you mentioned, we're almost 2 weeks away from your game at UMass, and now the season's truly kicking off. How do you think the team is going to buy into your vision from the first practice now?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty simple, thought. Like, I'm going to give all these guys opportunities. It's a clean slate. And for a number of them, I said, hey, the best thing that ever happened to you is me coming in because, I just want to move this thing forward. I don't want to look backwards. And, I think they've, kind of bought into each other. I think the new players coming in have felt embraced. And one of the things I talked to our current players when I took over, I said, listen, we're going to be bringing some new players in. I know this, if we keep them at arm's length, we'll never get out of them what we could get out of them. But if you embrace them, then they have a chance to help this football team. And I think, given credit to the guys who were here, they've done a really good job of embracing those new players. And I just look at the quarterback competition. I mean, Evan and Giovanni out there talking all the time about footwork and those kind of things. I mean, Evan, just wants to win. Evan has embraced the fact that he's, a great teammate, and this is his team. That's happened in a lot of positions. So it's more noticeable at the quarterback spot because, you can very easily roll in 2 or 3 running backs or 6 or 7 wide receivers or 3 tight ends. It's tougher to roll in 2 quarterbacks. It's more that one-on-one competition. And so when you see, one of your leaders in that situation and he's handling it that way, it just makes it easier for everybody else. And again, I pointed that out. It might have been the first or second day of OTAs in the summertime when Giovanni had just gotten here. And I pointed out to the team that, I'm looking across the field and there Evan is showing Giovanni some footwork on one of the plays. I said, that we have a chance. If that's going to happen through this whole team, that we have a chance because we're all going to try to get better. So again, I've been really happy with how they've worked, and the team is coming together as a team.
What is Diego's status after Saturday?
Yeah, we're hoping like 3 or 4 days. We'll get him back. I think it's one of those where if we were playing a game, they probably would tape them up and got him back, but. It just a sprain. Right now there was no gapping or anything, so not that I have any idea what gapping means, but I just repeat what they tell me. So I should probably study a little harder in that athletic training class I had at Delaware. But anyway, right now they're talking about just getting him back in a couple of days or so.
How did Luke look in the time that
Yeah.
he had today, right tackle?
Yeah, and that's a nice thing is we have some. I think, talking to Al Johnson, like he thinks there's 9 or 10 guys that are really competing that we could probably play in games. And that's really encouraging. I've said this before and I'll probably repeat it, until I'm proven wrong. I don't know if I've seen a position group improve more in a period of time than I have the O-line. I think when we first got here, we were like, ooh, what do we inherit? I think the strength coach has gotten those guys in really good shape. A lot of guys have dropped weight, worked on their flexibility, and Al Johnson's a terrific offensive line coach. So that position has definitely gotten better over time, and also has gotten deeper over time. So yeah, love to have all of them back. Kevin Terry's out there moving around a little bit right now. So, but we are blessed to have a little bit more depth there than I think we thought we would have going into this thing.
Do you think you might have Kevin for the opener, or is it
It's going to be tight. That's going to be a tight one. It's one of those where he's just starting to get some movement. He was in the strength staff today. He's walking around, without crutches or those kind of things. So, those kind of things, can all of a sudden, accelerate, especially, as you get closer to playing a ball game. But I think he's questionable. I don't want to put him out there unless we know we get 100% out of him. But it's good to know that he's moving forward, and it's not going to be something that's going to be a multi-game thing. It could be a one-game thing, or maybe he's available as a emergency situation. So it's too early right now, but he was moving around, and they had him in the weight room today.
Seemed like those sort of like the second team DBs gave up some stuff on Saturday, had a couple breakdowns. Is that among sort of the works in progress?
Yeah, there's some
biggest
talent
areas?
there, but there's some youth there also. It's difficult because we're trying to install a defense with a lot of moving parts on offense. And so I think what you'll see as we get, closer to UMass, and again, we did some stuff today, I think you'll see us kind of simplify and kind of hone down that defense. It was one of those things where we had to install it. Now going into UMass, what do we really want to use? And hopefully as we continue to do that, less thinking on defense, because again, there's some talent over their defense, and they can run around, and they're a physical bunch. I like them a lot better when they're not thinking, and again, I think because we had installed a defense with a lot of moving parts, we're going to start taking some of that defense out as we get closer to prepping for UMass.
Well, you've mentioned that obviously you're from the Northeast and you're very prideful about the football played in this region. Is there a little extra motivation to get this program back on track now that things are really kicking off?
Yeah, I had great pride when I moved to Texas. I figured out very quickly I was going to recruit Texas. And when I came back here, I figured very quickly that the football that we want to play here and the talent that we is in this region, from Connecticut down to Virginia out to Ohio. That's going to be our footprint. And if you look at, some of the recruiting services, and they're just, people guessing, but, some people who have some knowledge, we've been rated very highly in terms of this recruiting class. And if you look at where we got most of our kids from, it's from this Northeast area. So I think Temple has so much to offer. I think when you get players on our campus and they meet our players, our current players, they really, see the brotherhood here and they see what's going on. And also the fact that, this is just a great academic institution that has a history. Now the history hasn't been good lately, but if you look long-term, I always talk about the 198 NFL players, the 81 draft choices, the 4 first-round picks, a Heisman Trophy runner-up. 2015, you beat Penn State, and Notre Dame comes to town with game day, and we should have beaten them. There's history here. There was greatness here. How we get that back? We get it back by using the same formulas that the guys who had it going, use. Recruit this area. There is really good high school football in this area, and we need to take advantage of it.
You'd mentioned that you were going to map out things in more detail with the single digits. How did that go? And you feel any?
Yeah, so
closer
we're actually presenting today in terms of, okay, here's the thought in the single digit, and basically what it is, it's a nomination process. The players can nominate, and then we go to each department: strength, academic, athletic training, equipment. And if there's anyone in there that believes like this guy doesn't truly represent the single digit, they're not nominating people. They're basically saying, hey, we had a bad experience here. This is not what a single digit represents. He's always late for training room, or he never has a locker room, the way it should be, or whatever. He's missing at things academically, misses study hall. Those guys can't be single digits. And then from there it comes down to the coaches, and we'll give the final okay. And as I told my leadership group, a couple days ago, I said, let's not make this a distraction that there's not going to be a lot of them. I'm just, kind of laying the groundwork right now, because a lot of guys felt it was a popularity contest when I got here. It's going to be the exact opposite of it this year. So we need to make sure we understand, like, there's only going to be a handful of guys. And then from there, one of the things that was requested was, okay, some guys are going to be close. Maybe you don't feel comfortable in making them single digits because that name's on there for life. What do you think about during the season if they follow through and they still did all the things that you were hoping they were going to do? Would you consider? Yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea, because where we are right now with the single digit process, it's a possibility where game 4, 5, 6, 7 into the season we might add some. And again, I talk it over with our kids because I want them to feel comfortable, with this whole process. I talked it over with some of the guys at the function here on Saturday, and they agreed that they do not want this to be a popularity contest because, as they said, your name's on that wall for life. So yeah, I think we're gonna start the process today in terms of nomination, and we have a video put together to show what it really stands for, and then we'll vote. And I think we're getting it out maybe Wednesday or so.
Thursday.
Thursday it is? Okay, Thursday I think we're getting it out.
Hey, with the refs here on Saturday, there were, and maybe I saw one out here today too. They tweak it all. They're little tweaking the rules on offsides. And there was a play like,
So
the quarterback sort of fake it, right, or the center, whatever it might be, the call there at the snap.
Yeah, so they're being, we asked them to referee it really tight, because not having officials and all of a sudden having them. So yeah, is that left tackle in the backfield a little bit? Well, typically they'll warn you, and then then they'll throw the flag. Same thing with and lining up anywhere in the neutral zone. I said, listen, I want all of our guys to realize that you can't cut this thing close. So I've asked them to officiate them a little tight, and maybe that's why we got some more calls than probably normal. But yeah, I think it's important. We're gonna have, I think, officials out here again on Tuesday. So trying to get them out at least twice a week, and I think it's been really good for us. Good? All right, thanks, guys.